Hey everybody, Candace Schott here with the Schott & Co Real Estate Team and Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Toronto Realty with your Toronto Real Estate Market Update October 2023. Now, unless you live under a rock, you are seeing real estate updates all the time. They're in the news, they're in the blogs, they're on your social media, your friends are talking about it. If you have real estate friends, they're definitely talking about it. Naturally, of course, everyone's going to talk about Toronto real estate because we are one of the most expensive and largest cities in Canada, and coupled with all the interest rate hikes we've had, naturally that's going to make for some really great not only headlines but conversations at parties and really funny memes on social media. Who we kidding? But what you may not see are all the stats, so I thought why not jump on here and tell you what's really going on, give you some stats, and for any of the information I don't cover because I'm not getting into super big detail, you could always leave a comment in the section below and I'd be happy to reach out and have a more in-depth conversation with you. So let's take a look. GTA sales between September and October were 4,600 sales each month, just slightly over, which is surprising because as real estate agents who are active in the market, we thought for sure October we were going to see a slowdown, but it was relatively steady between September and October, which is great news. It was just flat. Now, mind you, it was 6% lower from October 2022. However, that's to be expected. We all knew that was going to happen. We're just happy to see that the sales stayed relatively flat. In the city of Toronto, though, we saw 1,825 sales, which is 90 more sales than in the month of September. Again, we were surprised by this because we thought for sure, with the amount of activity we've seen on our listings lately, that it was going to be a lower number. So that is really good news for the market. We still have active sellers, we still have active buyers, so all good news all around. Now, what we're seeing compared to last year though, is that we have 38% more listings that came out in October than in October 2022, and we have 50% more active listings at any given time compared to last year. So what has that done? So what has that done? That has given buyers way more choice than they've ever had. We haven't been in a buyer's market in the city of Toronto for over 10 or 12 years, so it's been a long time since buyers have been in the driver's seat. They now have more choice, they have more time to search, and they have the ability to negotiate, because if they're seeing houses that haven't sold and are repricing multiple times, they know that they have the ability to negotiate and come in hard. So we're definitely seeing that happen. What we're seeing as far as average price point for the GTA, for the month of September, it was $1,119,000. For October, it was $1,125,000. So we're seeing that slightly higher, and it's 3.5% higher than it was in October of 2022, which is quite surprising. I'm sure you'll all agree with me. When it comes to the different segments as well, detached homes were up 8% from last year, semis 4.7, townhouses 1.1. But condos is where we saw the dip in the price. Because why? Because a whole bunch of condos are hitting the market right now. Condos went down 1.7%. So what we're seeing in condos is that for the entire city of Toronto, there's over 5,700 condos for sale. In Toronto proper, central downtown core, south of Bloor, east and west of Yonge, there's over 2,300 condos for sale. So what does that mean? If you're a buyer and you've been sitting on the sidelines debating whether or not it's time for you to get into the market, this is an awesome time to be buying a condo. You have choice, you have the ability to negotiate, you can basically kind of set the parameters for what you want to buy and have a ton to look at, and then go in negotiating, because we know that these people that are on the market, you know they need to sell. There are definitely some investors out there that decided to sell their units because they're no longer making money, they might be in the negative cash flow area. There's people that are selling their assignment units because unfortunately they're not able to close on their properties, which is really unfortunate in this environment. And then of course you have people that just want to move. So you have three different segments who are putting all their condos on the market, giving you as a buyer a ton of choice. So if you're thinking about buying, this is a really great time to get into the condo market. We're also seeing more choice, not only in condos, but also freeholds. So again, because we have months of inventory and we have so many active listings, it's not only the buyers for condos that are going to benefit, but if you're a buyer thinking about upgrading, this is a really great time to upgrade. If you've been sitting in your semi, thinking about when's a really great time to get into a larger detached home, this is a really great time. You're going to notice in different neighborhoods that we're seeing price points that are less than what we've been experiencing over 2022, 2021, there's actually some really great price points out there for those looking to get into your detached home. So if you've been thinking about upgrading, this might be a really great time to consider that. Because what we know over the last 18 years of being in real estate, both my husband and I, is that when we're in these down markets, which we're currently in, we're in a down market where there's a pricing correction. Once buyers come back into the market and start being active again at the levels that we're used to, we're going to start to see those price points go up again. So this time right here, this dip doesn't last a long time. And most people don't really know how to predict when it's going to go up unless we see changes, drastic changes in the interest rates. If we don't see that and we see these interest rates just remain the same for quite some time, buyers are just going to say, well, listen, this is the environment that I'm in. I still want to get into the housing market. They're going to start shopping and slowly drive up those prices. So for those of you waiting on the sidelines to get into a condo or waiting on the sidelines to upgrade your house, it's a really great time. Now, for those of you who are sellers in this market, what we're noticing is this. The buyers that are on the market are serious. You're going to notice less showings, but the people that are coming to your open house or are coming with a scheduled appointment with their agent are serious buyers. So it just requires a little bit more patience. And of course, it requires figuring out the price point that's going to get the buyer and you to come together and pay market value for your house. Price points in different neighborhoods, of course, are experiencing different things. What's happening in Riverdale is not what's happening at the beach, is not what's happening in Lawrence Park, is not what's happening in Moore Park. So depending on where you're at could be dependent on where your price points are. So we want to take a look at, as a seller, what's happening in the last couple weeks. Don't look at other areas in the city and don't look at months down the road. You want to look at immediately what's happened in the last couple weeks to make sure that we're willing to price your house at a place that a buyer is willing to pay. The other important thing being a seller in this market is incredibly sophisticated and sexy marketing. You want to make sure that not only do you have a beautifully staged home, but you have incredible marketing to go along with that and tons of exposure. The idea is that you want to bring the buyers in not only through the masses, not only realtor.ca, but social media and syndicated websites, but you want to make sure it shows so well that a buyer falls in love and imagines them living in your house. There's never been a more important time when it comes to marketing and having your property show as beautifully as it can so that you can come together as a buyer and seller. Now, and what's going to happen in the next couple months, we have absolutely no idea. What we do know for sure is that November is going to be slower. December is going to be, even though it's seasonally slow, it's going to be probably slower than we're used to, as is January. Now, of course, the Bank of Canada, we're hearing some rumbles. Rates are going to stay the same. Rates are going to drop. We have absolutely no idea. What we do know is that when they start to come back and they start to drop these rates, this market's going to pick up again. So, buyers, it's time. Sellers require a little more patience. At the end of the day, Toronto real estate has always been a good investment. It always will continue to be a good investment. So if you're somebody who's thinking about selling, you've owned your house for 5 or 10 years, you're sitting on tons of equity. If you're a seller who just bought their house in the last couple of years, you might want to wait a couple more years before you get on the market. Buyer's market. It's time to get out there, get your great real estate agent, get an awesome mortgage broker, and get out there and buy a house. Don't be scared, it's time. Buyers, this is your time. Thanks so much for joining me. For more in-depth information that you want to find out about your house, your neighborhood, leave a comment in the section below. I'd love to chat, go out for coffee, whatever you'd like, video chat, Zoom, you name it. Let's chat about what it looks like to not only buy or sell in this market and how we can maximize either experience for you and make it a great one. Thanks so much for joining me, and we will see you soon.